You are about to listen to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast, hosted by Craig Forrestall. Find Craig on Twitter at that_sports_guy. The That Sports Guy podcast is proudly featured by NFL Draft Diamonds, your draft coverage king. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some football talk.
Hello and welcome to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. I am Craig Forrestall. You might know me from Twitter as at that_sports_guy. But today it is all about David Moore, former quarterback at Central Michigan. David, what's going on?
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, anytime. I'm excited to get to talk to you. And I know you said that you're getting ready to fly out for the Tropical Bowl here. So we'll get to that in a minute. But first things first. Let's talk about home. Alpharetta, Georgia is what the school website says. Yeah. What's it like growing up in Alpharetta?
Yeah, Alpharetta, Georgia, man. I love Alpharetta. My mom still lives there. My little brother, went to high school there. We went to Milton High School. Milton and Alpharetta is, just a couple miles from each other. So, but it was great. A lot of my family lives in and around the Atlanta area. So, growing up, I was always able to, see all my extended family, uncles, grandparents, all that. And then, as I got older, it's, super cool to be, close to a major city like Atlanta. And, Atlanta's great for, a lot of reasons. Get to meet a lot of really cool people. There's a lot of, fun places. And, sports is big, and, being a Falcons fan, it's been tough, but, it's had its rewarding times in the past. But, yeah, Alpharetta, Georgia is great.
And then, David, I wanted to know, were you a football-only athlete growing up, or did you play a lot of other different sports?
Yeah, so, I played a lot of different sports growing up. None really as serious as football. It was always football is my first love and always like my main thing. I played basketball and ran track up until I got to high school. But once I got into high school, actually I did play basketball my freshman and sophomore year in high school, but I wasn't on varsity. It was just just fun for me. But, football was always the main thing for me.
And now you worked with two well-known and well-respected quarterback coaches growing up, Kevin Murray, who played at Texas A&M, and his son is Kyler Murray. Also, you've worked with Quincy Avery. Avery is seen by many as the best private quarterback coach in the business. David, talk about what it means to you to be able to learn from them.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's been a blessing to be, coached by those two individuals, and they're both really different and both exceptional at what they do. I started working with Kevin first. I lived in Texas for a couple of years, like around my middle school, and then freshman and sophomore year of high school, I was in Texas. So yeah, I was training with Kevin during that time, and he really, I was really serious about football and wanting to play quarterback and stuff, but just being around him, it just really, showed me more so like, about what being a quarterback is, and in more of a way of just throwing the ball, and he he did a great job of like molding me, I would say, into who I was, and taught me a lot. It was the first time I was, having ever had, private quarterback training. It was from him, and so he really molded me. And then moving on to Quincy, and I can't say enough about Quincy. Quincy's been there for me, ever since I met him, probably 2013 or 2014. He's been like a big brother to me. Love training with him and his knowledge of the quarterback position. And, it goes deeper. We watch film together. We, we talk about all types of things, leadership. Quincy's really the full package, and there's a reason why he's seen as the best in the business. I would say, without a doubt, he's the best in the business. He's my current quarterback coach still, and I would never switch up on him. He's amazing for sure, and they've taught me, the majority of what I know about quarterbacking.
And then I saw an impressive list of quarterbacks that you've worked out with, including Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, and the list goes on. David, how has your game grown from being around those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think just being around them and just seeing, their, just the way they act and the way that they carry themselves, and then their work ethic and seriousness about playing quarterback. I think those are really the main things, and I think it's cool to be able to throw with, guys like that. For instance, Justin Fields was in Atlanta over the summer, and I was, able to work out with him and Quincy, and some other quarterbacks as well, on numerous occasions. And, it's just great to see, I mean, this is a guy who's going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft coming up, and, kind of just, stacking yourself up against them, and really, I try to take something away from everybody, especially someone like that who, is so touted and so talented as well. And obviously the national championship didn't go the way that I'm sure that he wanted, but I mean, he had an amazing college career, just like the rest of those quarterbacks. So it's always good to be around those high level guys, and they're also high character guys too. So there's always something to take away and learn from.
You played high school football in both the state of Texas and the state of Georgia. Both are seen as having some of the best high school football talent in the country. What would you say is similar about the two, and where is the competition better in your opinion?
Yeah, good question. I I I didn't have much varsity experience in Texas. That was in my younger days. I did play a couple of games, and for me, I would say that the fan base in Texas is unmatched. It's just such a big deal. From we used to have, and the high school that I went to in Texas, it wasn't even like one of the biggest high schools. It was a pretty big high school, and it's bigger to this day. It's been growing, but it wasn't even the biggest. But we used to have pep rallies the day of the game, like on Fridays during school, and I mean right after school, and the whole community would come to the pep rally, and and then the varsity players would be down on the basketball court, and the whole community would be in the stands, and the band would be playing, and this is just a pep rally before the game. And it is just an amazing atmosphere. And in Georgia too, we had pep rallies and that kind of stuff, and it was a very big deal as well. But I think that maybe just the fact that I was younger when I was in Texas, and it was kind of my first experience with like high school varsity football. It definitely made an impression on me. Another thing about Texas is that like a lot of the cities in Dallas, like the schools around Dallas, they're called independent school districts. So, for instance, McKinney Independent School District will have multiple high schools all play in one stadium, and the stadium will be huge. So it's called McKinney ISD Stadium, huge stadium, and all the McKinney schools will play there. So it'd be like McKinney Boyd, McKinney East, etc. And just it would just be filled up every time, fans going crazy. And so yeah, I would just say that I think that it's like a whole community big deal in Texas. And in Georgia, it's a really big deal too. The whole school will come out and everything. But I think, like I said, like I mentioned before, I think just the fact that I was younger when I was in Texas, and it was my first like varsity experience that made, it made an impression on me.
And what was the recruiting process like for you in high school?
Yeah, so it was interesting. When I just after my sophomore year, I was moving back to Georgia. So grew up in Alpharetta, moved to Texas, and then came back to Alpharetta. And so right when I was about moving back to Alpharetta, my sophomore year, going into my junior year, I got offered by UAB. That was my first offer. I went to camp, and then I got an offer, and then I got a few in between. And then my first like big offer was my junior year. I got offered by Oregon State, and that was a pretty big deal to me. That was pretty cool. It was my first Power 5 offer. And then after that, I received, I got a pretty good amount of offers. I went to different camps here and there, and did, stuff like that. But I really, enjoyed my time in Dallas. And so I originally committed to SMU, and Chad Morris. And I was committed there for, the majority of my majority of my junior year. And then my senior year came, and after the year, I think SMU had went 0-12 or something like that. And and I also was just starting to feel a little apprehensive about going that far away from home, which is I think ironic because I ended up at Central Michigan. But so just the culmination of those things. And when Coach Mike Norvell took the head coaching job at Memphis, he was the offensive coordinator at Arizona State. Then I had always liked him at Arizona State. We had always stayed in touch. And so I decided to stay closer to home and go to the University of Memphis. They had just had Paxton Lynch go to the NFL from Memphis. They're coming off some good years. And so I decided to flip my commitment to the University of Memphis. So that's pretty much what it was for me. I got it was interesting. I originally thought that I would be at SMU, but I ended up being happy with my decision to go to Memphis.
And like you said, you spent a little bit of time with the Memphis Tigers before deciding to transfer to Garden City Junior College in Kansas. David, what was your JUCO experience like?
Yeah, JUCO experience was tough. It was a learning experience for sure. I learned a lot about myself. Moving out to the middle of nowhere in Kansas, not the greatest, situation like living wise. And, it was just, it was tough going from a D1 program to a junior college. And, which the majority of athletes who've been in JUCO would tell you the same. But at the same time, the camaraderie that you build with those guys as you're going along the season, and everybody's trying to make it out, it really gives you something to work together towards. And at the same time, we went 10-0, and then we went to the national championship, and unfortunately we lost. I think it was only by 1 point, but we ended up losing to East Mississippi Community College. They had a good team, but I mean, it was a great year. I got first team all conference, and arguably the best JUCO conference that there is, Kansas, the Kansas Jayhawk conference. And so yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was a great learning experience that helped humble me and helped me grow up as a man. And I'm thankful for it.
Now, David, take me through the game you and Central Michigan played against the Miami Hurricanes. It was a nail biter where you had 217 yards passing, adding one rushing touchdown, but came up just short, losing 17-12. How much did that loss hurt?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely hurt. It was that was my first away game start of my career. We had just came off a win versus Akron in my first start, and they were really good. It was very interesting playing in Hard Rock Stadium. It was a great atmosphere. This was pre-COVID, so there were fans there, and it was a great time. And for me, it was really awesome, being able to compete at that high level versus those athletes. For instance, Greg Rousseau, who's coming out for the draft right now, he's actually here in Pensacola with me training at Exos, and we had laughed and talked about the game a while too, because he actually got a strip sack on me in the game, and he was chasing me around all game. So it was definitely tough. Competing as hard as we did, it was really good. Just highlighting my teammates and how good they are, and being able to show it on a stage like that. It was tough that we came up short. Obviously you want to win every game, but a game against a premier program like the University of Miami, and one where it's came down to the last drive, is obviously a heartbreaker.
And now you've been invited to the College Gridiron Showcase and Tropical Bowl. What does it mean to have these opportunities to compete, David?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything to me. I didn't have the opportunity to compete this past year, so being able to get back out there in the Tropical Bowl and play in an actual physical game, full pads. It's as a competitor and someone who's looking to show the scouts what I can do. I couldn't ask for anything more, and then to follow that up with College Gridiron Showcase, which I think I saw today that there was over 90 confirmed scouts, from the NFL and CFL who are going to be there. Um, you know, Big, huge blessings for me. I'm just looking to go out there and compete the best of my ability, and give these scouts a reason to sign me.
And now, David, let's build off that question a little bit. Can you give us a self scouting report on your overall game as a quarterback?
Yeah, so my overall game as a quarterback, what I'm best suited at, this is what I put on tape, in I pride myself in being extremely accurate in all of the rhythm passing game, um, pocket passing, uh, very accurate. I have a strong arm. I throw a really nice deep ball. And in terms of mobility, I can get out and scramble for first downs. And, I'm not a barn burner by any means. I'm not going to, you know, house a 90-yard, Lamar Jackson type of play, but I can get first downs and move the chains and score the ball in the zone run read game as well. But I pride myself on my pocket passing, my ability to stand in the pocket and deliver all types of throws all over the field. I feel like I have a plus arm, so that would be my scouting report on myself.
David, we've spent a little bit of time digging into your background and some football based questions, but I got a handful of questions to get to know you away from the game. You ready
All
for
right,
those?
let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First one. What's the trait you value the most in a friendship?
Trait I value the most in a friendship, I would probably say just trust and loyalty. I mean, um, that's really all you can ask for in a friend is, someone you can trust, and, someone who is loyal to you and you're loyal to them. And so, that'd probably be my best answer. Some of my best friends from over the years are people who I can just be myself around, and they know me well and I know them well, and we trust each other. So and I'd say that's probably the case for any relationship. Trust is definitely a major key.
What's the motto that you live by?
Motto that I live by? it might be cheesy, but, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule. I'm a Christian. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And, although, nobody is close to being perfect, but I try my hardest to be a good Christian and treat people, with the, love and respect that, I would have them treat me with.
David, what's your favorite comfort food?
My favorite comfort food? That is an easy one. I love me some hibachi steak, chicken and steak, like stir fried rice. That is my favorite. I could eat that, all day.
What's the song that you like, but nobody knows it?
I don't think there's a specific song that I like, but Lana Del Rey is one of my favorite artists, and that's something that not a lot of people know.
And David, we're going to finish it off right here. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
If I could have a superpower, it would definitely be like telekinesis or like psychic abilities, like be able to move stuff with my mind or like read people's minds and control people's minds. I just feel like, having like a power like that would be super convenient, and like seeing the future, stuff like that. All of that stuff would just be super cool to me. I don't need anything flashy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is David Moore, former quarterback at Central Michigan. Remember his name as he hits the circuit starting this weekend as he heads down to Orlando for the Tropical Bowl and then bounces on over to Texas right after that for the College Gridiron Showcase. And like he said, he'll have plenty of chances to impress the NFL eyes as over 90 scouts will be in attendance at the College Gridiron Showcase. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that is David Moore. I am Craig Forrestall. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.
Hey everybody, Craig Forrestall. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at @that_sports_guy to catch all the latest updates and podcast episodes. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.